Hi, I'm Kevin. In today's video, I'm going to take you through the procedure that I took to change the power steering reservoir. And the reason why I'm doing this, the power steering filter is built into the reservoir here. So, this is a maintenance item that should be done. So, the power steering reservoir is located just in front of the oil fill uh, here in the let's say the right side quarter panel, rear quarter panel. So it's really buried in there, and it's necessary to remove the airbox realistically to get access to do the change. You might be able to do it, but I like to do a deep clean when I'm working on the car. So this really gives me good access to the right side of the engine compartment, and that's something that's important to me. Uh, you know. So anyway, this is the approach that I took. So here's the airbox, which is now removed from the car. But just to give you an idea what it's like, the first step is to remove, let's say, this cover, which holds the air filter in. So you loosen those two clips, and you can remove the filter. So now there's a 10 millimeter bolt which holds a wiring harness to the engine. So you loosen that 10 millimeter bolt. The next area to focus on is there's an electrical connection here for the mass airflow. You just snap that off. And then this is the mass airflow sensor right here. And there's an electrical connection on here which you turn counterclockwise to remove. And then there is depending upon, let's say, the repairs that have been done to your car, the connector may be different, but there's uh, a, a clamp, a 7 millimeter clamp that holds, let's say, the hose here. So yeah, I had to loosen that. And then the mass airflow sensor, in order, you can't get the airbox out if the mass airflow sensor is still connected to the airbox. So you have to kind of, you take, it's in there on an angle like this, kind of facing you, which makes it easy to get this off. But you have to rotate it towards the front of the car in order to get it off. So, there's like slots here that this needs to fit into. So with the airflow, mass airflow sensor loose, uh, there's the next thing I removed. There's a hose here, which has a clamp, so I had to loosen that. And also because is my car is a manual transmission, there's a breather hose here, which you have to pull out. So basically, that's the process that gives you access to the power steering reservoir. Okay, so with the airbox removed, much easier to see the power steering reservoir here. There's two hoses that go into the power steering reservoir. You can see this is the pump here. And so what I'm going to do, there's a band clamp there. I'm going to loosen that so I can pull the reservoir away from the fender. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to drain as much fluid out of the power steering reservoir as I can. And I'm going to put lots of towels underneath the reservoir because you're not going to get everything out of them when I disconnect the hoses from the bottom of the reservoir. There's going to be power steering fluid that's going to get all over the place. So I'm going to try and capture that as much as possible. The new power steering reservoir in the engine bay here, and using the old power steering reservoir for illustration purposes, this outlet, there's a hose that goes to the power steering pump, and fluid flows from the reservoir through the power steering pump to the steering rack at the front of the car, and then the fluid comes back, it returns to the power steering reservoir through a hose here into the bottom of the reservoir, gets filtered, and then it continues to cycle. So what I'm trying to do now is get the older power steering fluid out of the system, new power steering reservoir in there loosely, and have the return hose going into a bottle. Crank the engine, and you can see I'm getting the old power steering fluid in there. And I'm going to empty that bottle, make sure I got the reservoir filled up, and I'll do that until I see the new color, the new power steering fluid color in the bottle. I've done the engine idling here. I've done the bleed of the system, so with the engine idling, I went rack to rack, checking the reservoir. It's staying now at a constant level, and hope you found the video helpful. Take care now.